Lights, camera, action.
And the winner is...
Welcome back to the Oscar Reel Movie Podcast, episode 18. So we're going to do some time traveling on this one. We're recording on, what's today's date? Thursday,
27th.
the 27th, but this will be coming out in March sometime when we're over in Europe, hopefully not getting coronavirus or anything like that. We're starting in Italy and making our way over to London, so maybe this is like the last words people will ever hear from us.
Oh God, don't say that. No, you can't put stuff like that into the universe.
So for those of you listening,
oh my God,
I hope you're with us. This could be the last podcast.
Stop.
Okay. You don't like thinking about that
No.
stuff. Okay.
I told you, don't put stuff like that into the universe.
Okay. I'm sure we'll be fine. It'll be fine. But yeah, we've got a episode guest list today. No guests. We had a good time with Josh on last time, but
yeah, that was a lot of fun. We should have another guest.
Yeah.
Come up soon.
For anyone out there who has our number or email or however you want to get in touch with us, if you want to be a guest, just reach out. We're open. If there's a certain movie that you want to talk about, let us know and we can work that out. That's what Josh did. He said he'd want to be on for Gladiator, so when we came around to that, just to let him know. So that's what we did. So yeah, feel free to reach out if you want to. But yeah, we'll dive right into. So today we'll do, the usual segments and what we've been watching, the trailer park, and some news. Today we decided to review Miracle, because, what was it? It was the 40-year anniversary?
It was the 40th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice game. So it was my week to pick the movie that went along with the Best Picture winner, and I said, well, no brainer. 40-year anniversary of Miracle on Ice game. It's one of my favorite movies, so let's watch it. So that's what we did.
So it was on Disney Plus, so easy enough to watch. So we'll be doing Miracle, and then the Best Picture winners from 1975, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And then after the reviews, I think we decided we'll go over some upcoming movies in the year 2020 and maybe discuss which ones we're excited for. So let's dive into it. So what we've been watching, reading, or whatever, my list is kind of short. I finished Clone Wars, the animated TV show on Disney Plus. It's 6 seasons in the books. I started the new season 2, which they've only had 1 episode for it, but really enjoyed it. That was really good. I started Rebels too, which is kind of the sequel-ish series to it. Rebels takes place 4 years before A New Hope starts, if my math is right. Rebels has been good. I just finished season 2 today. But I definitely, so far, like Clone Wars more. I don't know, I just like the idea of like learning more about the clones, and you still get the main characters of Anakin, Obi-Wan, and the new Ahsoka character and everything. So, finished that, and then the only other thing is we've been watching Survivor, the Winners at War season. So all the contestants in this season of Survivor are previous winners, so this is kind of the pinnacle of Survivor, the thing everyone's been, not everyone, but a lot of people have been asking for, so I've been watching that too.
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun. It's the episode that aired last night. Like, I don't think I've laughed that hard at a Survivor episode in a long time, so it's like, I mean, one thing that, like, everyone wins in a different way on that show, but everyone is, like, charismatic in their own way, so to have, like, 20 complete characters on this show, it's been really fun. Mm-hmm. Really, really fun to watch. So, yeah, that's been good. Another show that I've been watching, I don't think I've brought it up on here, but I got back into Project Runway last year when they moved back to Bravo. And they've got Carly Kloss as the new host, and then Christian Siriano, who won more than a couple years ago. I think it was like season 5, and they're like in 18 now or something. But he's like the mentor, helper type person. It's been so good. And they're down to like the final 5 right now. So that's been really good this season. And I also finished over the weekend while you were watching Clone Wars, I finished reading The Woman in the Window.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which, that's the Amy Adams movie that's coming out later this year. Book was really good. It was really, really good. Because, like, we knew a little bit of what might happen, and so I was waiting. I'm like, okay, so this is going on. I'm like, there's got to be a twist. And it's like, there was a huge twist, but I'm like, there's still, like, 150 pages left. Like, there's going to be another one. And there were 2 more twists that I did not see coming. So it was really good. I really enjoyed it, and it was a super easy read. I was telling you this, like, each chapter is only, like, 2 pages long, and then they have, like, chapter or like dates sections in there, so honestly the book's probably 100 pages less than it really is.
Yeah.
So it was a really quick read if anyone's looking for something to read before it comes out on video.
Nice. I'll be bringing a couple books on the trip with me, so
yeah, same here.
the downtime, maybe we'll get a couple more books in that we can talk about on our next episode. But yeah, is that all you got?
That's all I got.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair enough. Like I said, it was probably going to be a little shorter because we didn't record that long ago. But diving into the trailer park, kind of a small trailer park today. I only put 1 trailer in. There hasn't been a lot that's come out recently. But the 1 trailer I do have in here is a new movie that'll be coming from Jordan Peele. And that's Candyman. So it's looking at it says sequel. Not a reboot, maybe a mixture of both of the 1992 movie that came out with the same title. So this is produced and written by Jordan Peele. So he isn't directing it, but he is writing it and producing it. So he's got his,
he's got his stamp on it. Yeah.
Yep.
Nia DaCosta is the one who's directing it.
Yep. So the fact that Jordan Peele is that involved gives me, hope for it. But Yal Abdul Mateen II is the lead in this. So he was in The Watchmen show.
Oh, okay.
And then he was also the first time I noticed him was Aquaman. He was Black Mantis.
Ah, okay. Okay.
So he's the lead in this. I know before we started recording, you told me you're not too familiar with Candyman.
No, I don't know the Candyman story at all.
So what did you think of the trailer with the fresh set eyes then, without knowing anything?
It looks super scary.
Yeah.
It looks super scary. And yeah, they kind of give you a little bit of a background to it. I mean, basically the gist is, like, if you look in the mirror and say Candyman 5 times, then you'll see his reflection, he'll kill you. I always remember growing up hearing that with, like, Bloody Mary. Like, if you spin around 5 times from the mirror and say Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, like, they'll have...
Or it's like Beetlejuice. If you say Beetlejuice 3 times, he shows up.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think it looks scary.
Yeah. No,
it's exactly like Jordan Peele's other movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder if he'll have his... metaphor, like a metaphor.
Some sort of like social metaphor.
Yeah, because,
sure.
In Get Out, it was racial metaphors behind everything, and then in Us, it was more of a social class one going on. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if he's gonna put anything like that in this movie.
Yeah.
So
I would think so.
Yeah, probably. I would think so. So it'll be interesting to see, what it'll be, because the original Candyman in '92, it is kind of I could see him putting some racial metaphors into this, because the original story is Candyman was the son of a slave who became wealthy because of like an invention that was successful. Mm-hmm. So he went into like boarding schools and private schools growing up, and ended up having an affair with a white woman and got her pregnant, and that white woman's father essentially killed like the original, like the real person, the person who became Candyman.
Oh, okay.
And he killed him by covering his body in honey, and then he died because of being stung by bees.
Gotcha. Okay, because I was wondering, in the trailer, they're like, bees or whatever keep popping up. So.
And he also cuts off his right hand, which is where
it's like a hook.
Yep.
Ugh.
So that's how the Candyman was created. So there initially, just in the original movie back in 92, there's some racial not issue, but like things going on there. So he could easily maybe put something like that in there. This movie looks interesting. So the actor that played the original Candyman is going to be in this.
Oh, really?
I mean, it is a sequel, so I guess it makes sense for him to be in it.
Sure.
Tony Todd is his name. But this trailer is interesting because it makes it seem like Yal Abdul Mateen is going to turn into the Candyman.
Yeah.
It seems like he's the one who's kind of...
Or he's like, he's at least convincing himself, like, oh my god, I think this thing's after me and it's like turning into me.
Yeah.
Or I'm turning into it,
There's multiple scenes where he's the one where like he sees his reflection and he is the Candyman with the hook for a hand and everything. So it'll be interesting. I mean... The original Candyman is kind of considered a classic, a cult-ish classic. You know, over the years since it's come out, people have gravitated to it more and more, and come to, a lot of horror movies will take that on, like Problem Child or Child's Play, like the Chucky movies. They'll kind of become those cult classics. But I think Candyman, more so than those, is actually considered a good movie. I haven't seen it in forever, so I can't even remember, but the fact that the original source material is kind of considered good, and Jordan Peele is tied to this, I'll give it a shot. And I like Yal Abdul Mateen. He was great in the couple things I've seen him in, so I'll give it a shot. I liked this more than when I saw the trailer for like Fantasy Island or another horror movie like that, so... I'm more on the excited side of things for this.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's like appealing from that standpoint of what you said. Like, seems like good source material, and Jordan Peele's been doing some good stuff. But I feel like his stuff just gets scarier and scarier. I like scary movies, but this one freaked me out. I don't know why. It really got to me.
You know why they call him the Candyman? Why? Because they can't call him the Handyman.
Oh, God.
Is that good?
Yeah, that was
right?
good.
Okay.
Good dad joke, yep.
Okay. Anything else on Candyman?
No, I don't have anything else.
All right. So I've got a couple news items here. I guess I didn't really show you what these will be, so I guess we'll get your live reaction here to them. So the first thing I have here, did you watch The Proud Family? You remember that show?
I remember it, yeah, but I never watched it.
So Disney Plus is, I think they've confirmed a revival of it, or for Disney Plus. Like Disney has announced one for Disney Plus.
Brand new episodes.
Yeah, from what I
like, hey, we're putting the like existing series on Disney Plus, but like they'll create new stuff.
No, yeah, it's new content for it. So
hey, that reminds me actually. So this was kind of a really cool part about the Candyman trailer. If I can go back to that real quick, is they have kind of like a creepy like remix rendition of Destiny's Child, Say My Name, and that was
good. I actually meant to bring that up too, so I'm glad.
But now we're talking Proud Family.
Say my name.
And didn't Beyonce do the song for this? I'm probably wrong. I don't know.
She could have. I am not too. Let me look it up here.
But it's funny. Like one of the only things I remember from the Proud Family is the theme song, and so it made me think of the music that was in the trailer for Candyman.
Yeah, no. Well, it's funny you said. So the two things that I always think of, it looks like Destiny's Child. Did
the Proud Family?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Beyonce, yes, but it was like all of the Destiny's Child. So, but the two things I always think of with the Proud Family is the saying, "Cool, like the other side of the pillow." That was always something they said, and that for whatever reason stuck with me. That, and I remember there was an episode around the holidays that was about Kwanzaa. Yeah. And I just remember really liking that episode. Cool. Those are like the only two things I remember from the Proud Family. But it sounds like the entire, like the original voice cast will be returning.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, they're gonna put the old show on, but then have new seasons and new episodes. Nice. So, Disney reviving another show. I was never huge on the Proud Family. You said you never really watched it either.
We've been over this. I was a Nickelodeon kid, not a Disney Channel kid, so I didn't watch much on the Disney Channel.
I mean, I watched Disney. I just wasn't into this, but that doesn't mean it wasn't good. I just wasn't I appreciate that the target demographic was different than me. It was a different one, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't watch it, but I appreciate like what they were doing and the audience they were aiming towards for it. So that's kind of cool news. In other Disney Plus-ish news, do you remember that Lizzie MacGuire was supposed to be getting a revival?
Yeah, I had heard that.
Apparently that's on hold or not potentially happening anymore. And it's because they had started production back in November. Mm-hmm. They had filmed, I think, 2 episodes. But then some Disney executives were on set when they were filming, and they kind of shut it down because they felt it was too adult.
Okay.
So Hilary Duff and the creator of the show they have a story that they want to tell about Lizzie MacGuire.
Yeah.
But I guess Disney is saying, no, you have to make this more family friendly.
You know, on that same note, Disney Plus is not allowing, what's the name of the movie? Love, Simon? Is that what it's called? They're not allowing that to be on Disney Plus because that is not family friendly. Yep.
Which
is ridiculous to me.
Yep. That's actually in this. I'm looking at a Variety article here too about the Lizzie MacGuire thing. Mm-hmm. And it says series star Hilary Duff has remained mostly mum on the subject, but she has made her feelings known in some not so subtle ways. Late Tuesday night, Duff posted a screenshot of her Instagram story of a news headline about the planned Disney Plus Love, Simon series, now titled Love, Victor. The show was moved this week to Hulu after it was deemed not family friendly enough for the Disney brand streamer. So in her post, she circled the words family friendly in the headlines and wrote, sounds familiar.
Interesting.
So that's pretty much the only news that has come up about this. Like, we don't know what about the show wasn't family friendly, like what they want the Lizzie MacGuire show to be.
Yeah.
But apparently it's something, and, you know, that's pretty much all that we've gotten out of it. But how do you feel about that? Is Disney a little too protective of their brand, or how do you feel about it? I mean, because that pretty much is their brand, right? Is kids and being family friendly.
Yeah. But it's annoying that they like aren't. I mean, I never watched Lizzie MacGuire, but we watched the movie Love, Simon, and it was a really good movie, a really sweet story, and it was about like this guy in high school kind of coming out about being gay and like finding someone in school that he had a crush on, and it was a really sweet story. And it's like I'm glad I'm a Nickelodeon kid because Disney seems to always make bad decisions like this.
Yeah, I mean, I get why they're doing it. It's kind of that protect the shield thing. Like in the NFL, they kind of have that saying like protect the shield, do things to. So I don't know if they just need to do like a black label adult Disney.
So that's like normal stuff though, like. Oh my god! Like
life is
so it's okay to have, you know, Avengers Endgame where they're cutting off Thanos' head and shit, but we can't have a boy interested in another boy. Come on, ridiculous.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm just, you know, if they're gonna do that, I mean, either for Lizzie MacGuire, just let them go to Hulu if that's something that's an option. To tell their story, or 2. Like Cartoon Network had Adult Swim, I think it was, you know. So I don't know if you do just something like that, or when you sign into Netflix, you kind of get
it's
the
weird
4
to think
kids
about
option. So I don't know if Disney Plus does something like that.
Yeah,
but
it's weird to think about. Like we're trying to come up with like, oh, where's a way that, you know, Disney can have these supposedly unfamily friendly things, and we're talking about how Cartoon Network has Adult Swim because that is like way adult stuff.
Yes, very much
very
so.
Adult stuff.
But it was on Cartoon Network, so it's like one brand can make it work.
Yeah.
But
I'm just laughing how it's like it makes a lot of sense for shows that are on Adult Swim to have its own separate kind of thing, whereas Disney's trying to find a place for a gay love story. That's my opinion.
Yeah, well, there you go. So, I don't know, hopefully, I would rather them do the show because you can just put some kind of, you know, like it's for teens or for MA or whatever, some kind of warning. I feel like what they're trying to do probably isn't terrible. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. Kids don't care about that stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
parents.
I know when like growing up, for me, there's some shows that had more adult content in it than I probably realized, but it went over my head, so. And plus the people that watched Lizzie MacGuire growing up are our age now, so we can probably handle the adult content, so I don't know. Anyways, we'll see if they work it out.
Yeah.
Moving on, I'm going to bring up Disney. So Bob Iger steps down from Disney. I mean, kind of surprising, but not too surprising because apparently he was going to step down at the end of 2021, I believe. Mm-hmm. So he's doing it a little early, but in a way doing it a little late too, because I think he was going to step down earlier, but that was before the Fox deal started happening. And when the Fox deal started up, he was like, okay, well, I'm going to stay on board for that to see it through. But to me, I mean, I don't think it's going to really affect anything. It's just, you know, it's news that he's stepping down, and I would say he's probably doing it a little early because 2019 was, I assume, a huge success for Disney with Endgame and the big-time Marvel movies coming out, but then also the launching of Disney Plus and The Mandalorian being a huge success, and Star Wars Episode 9 coming out as well. That I can't imagine that 2020 is gonna top 2019. So he was probably like, I want to go out on a high note. So peace out.
See ya.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the only thing I can come out of that I can think of about that. But I didn't know if you had any additional thoughts. Like I said, it's probably not gonna affect a whole lot. It's just he's stepping down. So.
Yep.
Another piece of news I have here, I think this is actually still Disney related. We're 4 for 4 here, but Steven Spielberg is stepping down as director for Indiana Jones 5.
Oh, that didn't last long.
Yep, so they're eyeing James Mangold to replace him, so the director of Walk the Line and Logan.
Okay.
So, thoughts on that? I know you weren't as big of an indie fan as me, but any thoughts?
Yeah, I guess I'm indifferent.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, oh, it sucks because Spielberg is one of the greatest directors ever. He's won 2 Oscars, and he directed all the movies in this franchise, so you'd prefer him to be on, but he did direct the last one, which was not good, and I pretend didn't happen, so maybe it's gotten to
maybe
the point.
Maybe it's for the better?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to put a positive spin on it, and maybe it's one of those, you've heard the same voice over and over. It's kind of like when McCarthy got fired from the Packers. It isn't necessarily he's a bad coach. It's just you need a different voice in the huddle to send a different message.
Sure.
So maybe that's what they're doing with this. And I love James Mangold. He also did Ford v Ferrari, which came out last year, nominated for Best Picture. So I mean, Mangold, he's a great director. So maybe they just need a different voice to give a better message, because Crystal Skull was not good, so maybe they can turn it around. And Harrison Ford loves playing the role, so I have no doubt that he'll be great. But just interesting that Spielberg is stepping down. So
the real question is, will John Williams be doing the music?
Ooh, yeah.
That'll get me to the theater. So
just the music
just
alone.
Kidding. Just kidding. Maybe a little.
I'm sure he will be.
Cool.
And then
anything else?
Yeah, I was scrolling through, that was all I had lined up, but then when I was scrolling through a couple last things on the internet, oh yeah, that was right. So Ben Affleck, you remember The Accountant?
Yes, I love that movie.
Yeah, so Ben Affleck is saying a sequel could possibly be made via TV show.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, people are going the TV route. You kind of, these days, you get the movie budget.
Yeah,
so
my gosh,
you get a lot of money to do it, so you it looks like a movie, but it's longer form. So if you have a large story to tell. You have more time to do it, so a lot of people are kind of gravitating towards that.
That was surprisingly a really good movie. They've been airing it on TV a lot lately too, so if you guys haven't seen it, I would say check it out. Yeah. It's really entertaining. It's
tied to the movie we'll be reviewing later. It was directed by Gavin O'Connor, who directed Miracle. But yeah, I mean, it made $155 million on a $45 million budget, so it was, in that sense, a success, which is what studios pretty much care about.
Yeah.
If it makes them money, they'll try to do another one. So it makes sense that a sequel was coming, and it's interesting that it'll be a TV show. I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, Gavin O'Connor. He also directed Ben Affleck in The Way Back, which is coming out soon.
Oh yeah, that'll come out.
The drunk basketball coaching movie. That's pretty much what it is. So I was trying to see if there's like a network tied to this at all or a streaming service, but I'm not really seeing anything. So I'm assuming this is pretty early in the stages, but it came from Ben Affleck, so kind of interesting. So
cool. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's all I've got for news.
Maybe I will add something in here.
Oh.
We talked about this a little bit when I got home from work today, but The Invisible Man opened at 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, so that's off to a good start. So I would like to see that.
Yeah, that may be that we've been doing. I mean, it's really been 2 episodes, this one and the one before it. We've just been doing past movies just because there isn't a ton in the theaters right now. Yeah. But maybe that'll be one that we do go see in theaters and review.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'd be game for that for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, we haven't really done many like thrillers, scary movies,
Mm-hmm.
So
it'd be a good one.
Alrighty, cool. That's it for news this week then.
Yep.
Perfect. We want to get into Miracle.
Yep.
Cool. So, like I said, I picked this one. I had kind of been thinking about this movie for a while anyway, just because I hadn't seen it in a while. And then, last Saturday when I saw it was the 40th anniversary of the game itself, I said, well, no brainer. Like, we got to watch that and let's talk about it on the podcast. So, for those who don't know, this movie came out in 2004. And it's the true story about Herb Brooks and the 1980 U.S. men's hockey team who went on to win the gold medal. But really the big deal that year was that they beat the Soviet Union, who had, just totally dominated international hockey for I think they had won the gold medal in the Olympics the 4 games before that, I think. Yeah,
the last time so the U.S. won gold in 60.
Yep.
And then it was every year the Soviets had won up until 80. So 64, 8, 72, 76. So 4.
Yep. Like you said, Gavin O'Connor directed this. Eric Guggenheim wrote it. I'm not sure who that is. I could probably look into him a little bit, but whatever, we'll skip over it. Like I said, it stars Kurt Russell plays the head coach, Herb Brooks. Herb is from Minnesota, so I remember this being just an even bigger deal growing up, because everyone was so excited to see their Minnesota hero on the big screen again. So Kurt Russell plays Herb Brooks. Patricia Clarkson plays his wife Patty. There aren't a lot of big names in this. The assistant coach, Coach Patrick, is played by Noah Emmerich. He's recognizable. He's been in a number of things. And then my favorite, I still don't really remember his real name because to me he's Tag from Friends.
Oh yeah, Eddie
Cahill. But yep, Eddie Cahill's in this, and he plays the goalie Jim Craig. So, because for the most part, the rest of the hockey team, the rest of the players, they're not primarily actors. They wanted to find hockey players who could act instead of finding actors who could skate.
Yeah, and the only reason Eddie Cahill is there is because the goalie wears a mask, so they can hide that pretty easily.
Yep, exactly. So, those are kind of the basics behind the movie. Do we want to talk about the plot of the movie? Where do you want to go from here?
No, it's a true story. We don't need to necessarily talk about the plot. We know they win in the end. I guess just what did you like about this movie? As far as sports movies go, I know for me, little things. I like the opening where it's just a collage of photos or moments in time from like 1970 to 1979 leading up to the start of the story, which it starts with Herb interviewing for the job. Basically laying it out there that we need to change the way we play the game, period. And I like how everyone at the IOC is concerned about being embarrassed, and he's just like, listen, our A team lost to this country's B team, like, we aren't going to be any worse than what we already are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as far as sports movies goes, I think this is one of the better ones out there. Looking into some of the...
Yeah, it's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, looking into some of the trivia on this, apparently it's considered to be one of the most accurate depictions or true events in a movie, including the dialogue, which is always kind of nice when you see a movie that holds true to what actually happened. Even to the point where I remember when Ruzioni scores the go-ahead goal, they like choreographed exactly how he would celebrate and like walk off to the right.
The choreography in this movie is so good. Like you're right, like watching all the goals or even like the face-off. I mean, it's all like shot for shot exactly how it happened, which I always find impressive, and like I always like that extra effort.
Yeah. So that
especially with something that big. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
well, when it's like the Olympics, it's like you better make it as exact as possible. And they brought in Al Michaels to re-record his commentary, so everything he says was what he said back in 1980, but it's like, it's him saying it in 2003 or whatever.
Yeah,
so it's,
they just cleaned it up a little bit.
Except for the last 10 seconds, those final 10 seconds of his call. They wanted they cleaned up the original, tried making it as clear as possible, where he is counting down the clock and then has the famous line of, "Do you believe in miracles?" That was the original. They were like...
there's no way you can recreate that. They had to use the original. Yeah. So glad they did. How accurate this movie is really cool. But like you said, it's a big moment like the Olympics. I mean, a lot of this stuff was caught on tape or film back then. So, one, it made it easy to make sure they were doing it as exact as possible. But two, it kind of puts the pressure on that they better do it as exact as possible. Right. But yeah, interesting thing, this was tape delayed, so most of the country didn't see the game live. Yeah. Which is kind of nuts. I would never fly this day and age. No. Imagine if something like that happened. Yeah, it's depending on where the Olympics are. Yeah, sometimes the quote-unquote prime time events, are delayed a little bit. Because I think when the Winter Olympics were in Pyeongchang a couple of years ago, there were a number of things where it's like, I'd see it online during the day, and it's like, oh, shoot, they're airing that tonight in tape delay. But, I mean, for the games to be played in the U.S. but not aired live in the U.S., it's kind of crazy. But, yeah, it was kind of cool to find out that it was on tape delay for pretty much the whole nation. But as far as I know, like, word kind of got out, but I think, probably for a lot of people it was a surprise if they watched it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not sure. I didn't look into like how much of a hard ass Herb Brooks really was, because in the movie they make it seem like he was, the tough love kind of guy, making them practice hard, longer for harder than they ever had before, and longer hours, kind of making the team resent him to an extent, but also like kind of how. I don't want to say complicated, but it was kind of some funny scenes of like him running the offense, like, okay, so this person's going to go here and you're going to fill in here and this is going to happen, and goes, okay, we good? Let's go run it. And he walks away and the whole team's like, what the hell is he talking about?
I have no idea what he's saying. Yeah, exactly.
So, some funny scenes there. Speaking of Herb Brooks, he unfortunately died during, principal photography of this film. So he never saw the final product of it, but he was there for, I think, a majority of the production of the film, but just not for the very end there.
Yeah, this is not a very important part of the movie, but I told you when we sat down to watch this, one of my favorite things about this movie is all the accents, because it's mostly hockey players from Minnesota and Boston. And so you just have these great accents throughout the whole movie, which, I mean, does nothing for the plot, but I like it. But it's, yeah.
Well,
it's
the
just,
accents don't, but the Minnesota v. Boston thing has something to do with it.
That thing does. But yeah, it was neat seeing how, like you said, it starts with him interviewing for the job, and he's like, we got to change things. We got to do this differently. And first day of tryouts, he says, here's my team of 26. I'll get you down to 20, but here's my team of 26 the first day. And everyone's like, whoa, no, Herb, you can't do that. You just saw these guys from one day. And he's like, I know it's going to work. So he did things differently, and it was all, college, amateur kids playing for this team. And, after that, and they kind of have a voiceover of this at the end, like narration saying, like, after that, they've always had, the dream teams and professional players and stuff. So I think that has a bigger impact, too, that these 20-some-year-old kids took down these professional 30-year-old athletes from the Soviet Union. It's really cool.
Which made me bring up, I kind of wish the Olympics would go back to amateurs only. I get that for the Olympics, you kind of want the best players in the world playing the sport, which would mean you'd have to dip into the professional pool because, the best people in the world are being paid to play.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, part of me just, I can't say misses, but because I was never really alive for it. But part of me wishes that they go back to the amateur status just for, I feel like you get bigger moments like this, you get the ragtag teams of people.
It has a different impact, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. But, at the same time, it's, part of it too is that, back in the 70s, 80s, like, you couldn't necessarily be a professional athlete in some of these, like, more, like, fringe sports. But, like, the fact that, pretty much all the swimmers, like, they're all professional swimmers. Even, like, rock climbers. Like, I did not, when we watched Free Solo last year or 2 years ago, I'm like, what? You can be a professional rock climber? Oh, okay, sure. Like, people are willing to sponsor and pay athletes for pretty much anything they do. So, if we really, really want to do amateurs only, that might be tough. But I understand what you're getting at.
Yep. I'm just looking at it from one way. Very closed lenses here. I'm not looking at big picture.
I understand what you're saying. Yep, I get it. But yeah, I really enjoy this movie. I like the really intense scenes. Like, I'm sure everyone remembers when they go to Europe. They end up playing Norway, I think, and they tie them. Which, not the biggest deal in the world, but the fact that they tied. Herb lost his shit, and he made them do the, like,
again.
line, skate just again, and just totally wore the players down. And to have really tough scenes like that, but then also, like, there's some good levity in the movie too. Like, there's some funny parts. This scene was like a little bit dry humor, but they're in like Thief River Falls, I think, is where they are, and they're trying to fly out for something, and they had to fix the plane because the plane hit a moose, and you're just like, oh my god, like, what the hell? Your planes are hitting mooses? I don't know. There's a
the moose? I think it's just moose, right?
Moose.
I don't know. Like fish and fish.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's so inspiring. You just feel good watching it.
Oh, yeah. And so I saw this in theaters, and people were clapping in the theater. That was the movie theater experience for this film. People were cheering when the U.S. team went ahead, and it was craziness. Mm-hmm. I remember that for sure.
Yeah, same here. Like, every time the U.S. scored, like, people would cheer a little bit, or like there'd be like murmurings in the audience, and then when the like buzzer went 0, like, people in the theater clapped. So it's kind of fun, and the movie never gets old to me. Like, I could watch it over and over again.
Rewatchability, there you go.
Exactly. Yep.
I will say something. You mentioned that they got hockey players and taught them to try to act. I think there were some moments where you could kind of see that happening. Not a ton. I think overall they did pretty good.
Yeah, they did do a good job.
Honestly, I kind of feel bad saying this because I know he passed away a couple of years ago, but the guy that played O.C., O'Callahan, that was the one. There were a couple scenes where I was like, okay, I can see where maybe the acting wasn't like the number one, but he was a good hockey player. I think of when they're in the bar early in the movie and they start arguing. There's some dialogue there that maybe wasn't the greatest. Also with that, I don't know how true. So this is kind of considered one of the more accurate movies, based on a true story. But I don't know how accurate this is because the whole thing between him and Mac. So O'Callahan's from Boston University, I want to say that, or Boston College, and then Mac played for Herb at Minnesota, and
McClanahan, is that who you're talking about?
And they don't like each other, but OC really doesn't like him because he
cheap shot at him
in a national championship game and took the ring off his finger, and the thing he wanted to do in life was win a national championship. But I looked it up, and he won a national championship the very next year.
Okay.
And was like the player, it's like the MVP for the Final Four, Frozen Four. He was the MVP of the tournament. So I'm like, okay, I don't know if this is actually something that happened because he won a national championship the year before, or if they're just doing this for dramatization in a movie.
Effect.
I don't know. But yeah, some other facts in this is a real life fact, I guess. But so Herb Brooks was cut from the 1960 team right before they went and played the Olympics. Yep. Apparently, Mark Johnson, who, Madison proud, scored 2 goals in the Soviet game.
Woohoo!
He was cut from the 1976 team in a similar fashion, and the coach of that team was his dad, Badger Bob Johnson. So
sorry, son.
Yeah, well, I guess he made up for it, but that's kind of interesting.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
We love Mark Johnson.
Yeah. He's still coaching, winning national championships with the women's Wisconsin Badger team. So that's awesome. But yeah, I guess what score would you give Miracle 1 through 10?
I give Miracle a 9.2. It's just so.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
What?
Nice. That's good. High standard. It's a high score for you.
You don't like it when I give things low scores. You don't like when I give things high scores.
I was surprised because you're
stop
usually
scoring movies then.
Oh, 0.0s for everything.
Oh my god. It's just it's such an enjoyable movie, and I love every moment of it. And like I said, it's one of those movies that I watch it over and over, and I never get sick of it. So there you go.
Nice. All right.
It's a great underdog story.
Yeah. Oh, ultimate underdog story, right?
Yep.
It's considered the greatest moment in U.S. sports history. It's the one moment in sports I've always said if I could go back in time and be there for the live, tape delayed live moment, it would be this.
Be there in the moment. Go to the game.
Well, that would be awesome too. But even just watching on TV and with no social media, you're not really knowing what had happened, that would still be great too. So I agree. This is the sports moment in U.S. history. So I get what you're saying. I'm giving it an 8.2. So it is on the lower end of things, especially since my scores are a little higher than yours. It's just more so. As far as a sports movie can go, this is probably one of the best ones you can do. But for me, I guess, maybe it's just because mixture of just knowing how it would go, or I don't know, and maybe the acting not being as strong as it could have been, but I get why they did what they did. I don't know, it's hard for me to explain why I'm not putting this in the 9s other than just it isn't as compelling a story to me as something like Gladiator that we reviewed in our last episode.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. I just like the movie like Gladiator more.
All right.
I don't know. I can't. It's hard for me to explain, which I know isn't fun or right to do, but
Gladiator's more compelling.
To me.
Huh. Okay.
That's, an underdog story, a redemption story. But I get why you love this movie, why other people love it. But yeah, to me, it's an 8 point, 2. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. That's what I got for it.
Awesome.
All right. So, moving on, our Best Picture winner from 1975, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So this won 5 Oscars. Best Picture, Director, which was Milos Forman, who would go on to win a second Oscar because I believe he directed Amadeus. So 9 years later or whatever, he won his second Oscar. Best Actor, Jack Nicholson. Best Actress, Louise Fletcher. And then what was it? Writing, best writing from adapted screenplay because this was based on a book. Lawrence Hobben and Bo Goldman. But it was nominated for 9, including a Best Supporting Actor nomination for Brad Dourif, and then Best Cinematography, Film Editing, and Score.
And one thing that's cool is this was the first. It won all, it swept in the major categories, so it got Best Picture, Director, Actor, Actress, and Screenplay. It was the first time that had happened in 41 years.
Yep, it's only happened 3 times.
What are the other 2?
It Happened One Night was the first one, with Clark Gable. Mm-hmm. And I think that was a Frank Capra film. I have it right here.
Yeah.
Take a look. Yep, Frank Capra. And then Claudette Colbert was actress, and then Clark Gable was Best Actor. This also won 5 Oscars. That's the key thing, I guess, because this was also screenplay. The same awards, because the third one was Silence of the Lambs, and that won the same 5. I'm pretty sure. I think it won Best Picture, Director, and then Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster won, and I think that won Best Screenplay as well. So those are the 5.
There you go.
The 3 films with the same 5 Oscars. That was something I had to note too, that this was the second to do that, and 3 films overall have done it. This movie starts out with the main role is Randall McMurphy, and that's Jack Nicholson's character. So it takes place in the 60s in Oregon, and McMurphy is being sent to an insane asylum because he was arrested and charged, and he went the insanity route to get out of going to jail. So they send him to an insane asylum, and basically this film is about him being inside that asylum, and he doesn't really pretend to be insane, but it's him just living with some not too stable people, and then dealing with Nurse Ratched, who is the villain, the quote-unquote villain in this film. The Louise Fletcher plays that role. And I think that character is on the AFI's top villain list, behind Vader, which is kind of funny. Number 1 is Hannibal Lecter. Number 2, Norman Bates from Psycho. Number 3, Vader. Yeah, Nurse Ratched's number 5. So she's number 5 on the AFI's top villains list. But it's him kind of befriending the people that are in the asylum, and trying to show them that there's more to life than just listening to Nurse Ratched and following all these rules. So he actually ends up being a pretty nice guy in the end. Early on, he's kind of seen as this jerk and this guy who only cares about himself, and getting himself out of here. And he has multiple escape attempts because he's been committed to the insane asylum. He can't just leave on his own merit, which he finds out halfway through the movie that pretty much everyone else in the facility can leave on their own. They're they're volunteering to be in here. Mm-hmm. And he goes on a rant, what the hell's wrong with you guys? You complain about being in here, and you can just walk out the front door.
Yep.
Which leads into one of the funnier scenes in the movie. So he escapes, quote unquote, he gets all of them out of the facility, and they go on a charter fishing boat. He takes them all fishing for the first time, and they end up catching a giant fish and reel it in, and Danny DeVito is one of the guys in this. This is one of his first roles.
I love his character.
Yeah.
Martini,
yeah.
So funny.
Yep, and Christopher Lloyd is one of the committed people or the insane people or whatever you want to call them in this movie too. So yeah, it's kind of just a house of shenanigans, all these things going on. Like, he wants to watch a World Series game, but Nurse Ratched says, no, we can't turn it on unless there's a unanimous vote or majority vote. Mm-hmm. So McMurphy's running around trying to get people to put their hands up and vote. And he finally gets the chief is the character's name, but he's this big, Native American guy that everyone just calls Chief, that doesn't talk and no one likes talking to, and all the guards and everyone is like, don't even bother talking to him. He's dumb. Don't talk to him. But McMurphy, he gives him the time of day and talks to him all the time. Talks towards him, at least, because the chief isn't really responding back. But he gets the chief to raise his hand, and Nurse Ratched finds some way to not put the game on. So she's just constantly pushing McMurphy's buttons throughout the whole movie. There's also funny scenes with Chief where they're playing basketball.
Yes.
Against the guards, and he gets Chief to play with him, and he's so tall that he just gets the ball and no one can get him from him. So he's blocking shots and scoring points, and it's pretty funny. And then towards the end of the movie, throughout the movie, like I said, he's trying to escape. McMurphy is, and he has this one scene where he's like, "Oh, I'll lift up this sink and throw it towards the window, and then we can bust out." But like, he can't lift a sink. Like, he can't do it. Mm-hmm. And then towards the end of the movie, he does manage to escape, or he's gonna he does escape, and he brings back a couple girls to the insane asylum.
Yes, that's right.
Because they find out that he was nominated for the Oscar. I'm not seeing his name on the IMDb. Brad Dourif. That's Brad Dourif's character is a virgin. So McMurphy talks one of the girls into, sleeping with him and getting him to lose his virginity, because they're basically just having this giant party inside the asylum.
Was it around Christmas? Is that?
Yeah, that or New Year's. It was one of the two,
okay.
I want to say.
I can't remember exactly.
Yep. And so McMurphy's plan is to, hook Brad Dourif's character up, but then escape by morning. Like, he wants to get out of there. But they all kind of pass out and fall asleep, and Nurse Ratched shows up the next morning and catches them.
Of course.
And Brad Dourif's character, what's his name? Billy. His character is caught with the woman in his room, and Nurse Ratched threatens to tell his mom, which Billy's, main thing is he doesn't like disappointing his mom, so that's a big deal to him. And he ends up, unfortunately, killing himself because he doesn't want his mom to find out. And McMurphy just loses it because basically he views it as Nurse Ratched's fault. Mm-hmm. So he chokes her out, doesn't end up killing her because they get him off her. But because of that, Nurse Ratched orders a lobotomy on him. So the last part of the movie is McMurphy coming back to his bed, and Chief walks over to him and actually speaks to him and says, "Oh, we were worried about you. Let's escape. Let's get out of here." And the Chief sees the incisions or the stitches or whatever on his head and realizes what had happened. Mm-hmm. So he does the pillow over the face move on McMurphy and puts him out of his misery, and then picks up the sink, and he's a behemoth of a man, so he can do it. He picks up the sink, throws it at the window, and escapes. And that's how the movie ends. So it's a, multi-genre movie. It's funny at points, it's sad at points, it's drama, it's multiple things. Overall, it's considered a classic. I think it's, what do we got here? It's like a 9 point, what am I saying? It is a 8.7 on IMDb. It's number 18 on their top 250. It's 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. This is just overall considered a classic of a movie. So what did you think of it? I know it's been a little while since we've seen it, but what did you think of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, it was really good, and I think like talking about it again kind of gives me like more of an appreciation for it, because you're right, there it hits so many emotions which you wouldn't necessarily expect from, you know, someone who's admitted to a mental hospital. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to see McMurphy's character like interact with all these people in the asylum. So he's like, hey guys, like there's more to life, but also you know, let's kind of have some fun, let's break some rules and stuff. So yeah, it's I feel like I've said this before, but it's kind of weird saying that's like an enjoyable movie, because there's some like heavy topics and heavy scenes and stuff, but it's really good, and I think it does kind of fit that classic movie like you have to see. Yeah, like it's on that must-see list. Like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, yes, put that on your list of things to see.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And I've seen this twice. So once, like in high school-ish time growing up, because this is one of my dad's favorite movies. And then rewatching it with you while we're drawing years out of a hat and, you know, watching these movies over again. It's definitely, I think everyone should see it. It's really good. The acting's great in it. Nurse Ratched, so Louise Fletcher won Best Actress. She really isn't in it as much as you'd think for Best Actress winner.
Yeah.
But, you know, she's good, bad in her role, so that's fine. For me, rewatching the second time, this is something little, but, like, it kind of made me feel like, oh, that's interesting, and I forgot what McMurphy had gone to jail for.
Yep.
And what he gone to jail for was statutory rape. So that made me go, ooh, that's not good. Okay, well, that kind of made me feel differently about McMurphy throughout the rest of the movie.
And like it never comes up again. They don't make a deal about it or anything. It's just like, oh, hey, here's the reason why you were arrested and charged. So.
Yeah, it was something like statutory rape. She was 16 years old, and he like Jack Nicholson has some line of like, she didn't look 16 to me or something like that, where I was like, I don't like that. That's not great.
No.
I think I remember saying that, like, that's not good. That's not great. I completely forgot about that. And then, yeah, they don't really address it anymore because I guess they want you to like them. But that was the only thing for me rewatching it the second time, where I was like, yeah. Don't love that. But after that, I mean, he's a pretty good character. You know, I always like when I just like it when characters like that, he's talking to other characters, trying to get them out of their shell, trying to get them out of their comfort zone. That's usually a good thing. So that's shown pretty well in the movie. And I don't like authority, so I like that he's sticking it to the man in Nurse Ratched, too. So.
Right. So what score did you give this movie?
I gave it a 9.2.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely in the must-see range. It's in the 9s for me, which is always a big deal. So I do think it's one of those classic movies, like you said, that you gotta see.
Yep, I agree. I give this one an 8.5. I think it's a really well done movie, and like I said, it hits a number of emotions and in few different kind of styles. It can be kind of hard to watch in certain spots, so for me it's a little bit lower, 8.5.
Okay, fair enough. All right. All right, well, moving on to the next section where I always like doing this. We're going to go over the other nominees or winners of the same year. So usually starting in the like supporting actor, actress range. Yeah, so let's see. Maybe we'll have you list them off. Let's see. Who do we have for Best Supporting Actress?
So that year we had Ronnie Blakely in Nashville, Sylvia Miles in Farewell My Lovely, Lily Tomlin also in Nashville, Brenda Vaccaro in Jacqueline Susan's Once Is Not Enough, good lord, and the winner that year was Lee Grant for Shampoo. I can tell you I've never heard of any of these movies.
I will tell you I've heard of 2 of these movies and have seen 0 of them.
Okay.
So I have like no opinion in this category for 1975. I've heard of Nashville, never seen it, and I've heard of Shampoo solely because I know that Lee Grant won for it. But I don't know anything about. I haven't seen any of these movies, so I guess that's my way of saying, all right, moving on.
We can move on.
Yep.
So Best Supporting Actor that year, we already mentioned we had Brad Dourif for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Burgess Meredith was nominated for The Day of the Locust. Chris Sarandon for Dog Day Afternoon. Jack Warden for Shampoo. And the winner was George Burns for The Sunshine Boys.
Yeah, so Burgess Meredith, I guess, got nominated 2 years in a row because he clearly was nominated in 1975, but he, the very next year, was in Rocky, and I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure he got nominated for that role, too. So getting 2 nominations in Best Supporting Actor in a row, so that's cool for him.
Yeah.
I know I said I'm not really going to rework or change anything 1975, but I guess when I see the opportunity to do it, I guess I will. I've seen Dog Day Afternoon. That movie's just a complete classic. I would change... So the character that's nominated here, Chris Sarandon, is barely in this movie. He is... so the movie's like a bank robbery movie with Al Pacino. Mm-hmm. And Al Pacino's character turns out being gay or bisexual in it at least. And Chris Sarandon is his boyfriend. Mm-hmm. He's barely in the movie. I would have rather seen the nomination go to someone that we've talked about on this podcast before, and that's John Cazale, if I say his name right. Trying to bring his name up here, but of course Dog Day Afternoon doesn't do their billing from most paid to lowest. It must be like in order of appearance, so Al Pacino and John aren't at the top here. But he was in Deer Hunter. He was the guy he's been in like 5 movies, and all of them were nominated for Best Picture. Mm-hmm. This is probably the most screen time he gets in his movies, other than Godfather playing Fredo. He's in those a lot, and he's great as he's like the sidekick, not sidekick, but he's the other person robbing the bank with Al Pacino. He's really good in it, so I'd have rather the nomination gone to him. But yeah, that's... Looking at this, the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and Dog Day Afternoon are the only 2 that I've seen. I haven't seen Sunshine Boys, where George Burns won, so I unfortunately don't have a lot of opinions on this one either. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess moving on to Best Actress.
So we have Isabelle Adjani in The Story of Adele, Anne Margaret for Tommy, Glenda Jackson for Hedda, Carol Kane for Hester Street. Again, have not heard of any of these movies. But like we mentioned, Louise Fletcher did win Best Actress this year for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, so it's funny. I posted on Reddit, like, is 1975 a sneaky great year in film? Mainly because of the Best Picture nominees that we'll talk about in a little bit. But man, running through these acting categories, I will be honest, I'm a huge movie buff, and I think the 70s is the best decade in film. I have not seen most of these movies that we brought up. Maybe that's probably mostly my fault. I'm sure these are all great movies and great.
But the fact that, we roles. Haven't even heard of some of them, it's like,
Yeah, the only one of these I've seen is the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So, and I had said Louise Fletcher won, and she didn't have a ton of screen time. Maybe that has something to do with the other nominees that year, because I haven't heard of or seen a lot of these. So maybe it was just one of those years where. With not as much screen time, she pulled out the W. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, could be.
Yep. So, yeah. Moving on, Best Actor.
So Best Actor, Walter Matthau for The Sunshine Boys, Al Pacino for Dog Day Afternoon, like you mentioned, Maximilian Schell for The Man in the Glass Booth, James Whitmore for Give 'Em Hell, Harry, and then Jack Nicholson won for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
So, yeah, this category... 4 of the 5 nominees are big-time actors. I think and when I'm talking about Jack Nicholson, Walter Matthau, Al Pacino, and Max Schnell. So they've all won an Oscar. I mean, Jack Nicholson twice. Walter Matthau won for the Fortune Cookie's Fortune, one of those two. Al Pacino won an Oscar eventually for Scent of a Woman, and Maximilian Schnell won for Judgment at Nuremberg. So big names, but again, I haven't seen a lot of these movies. The only two I've seen is the two I've mentioned already, and that's one for The Cuckoo's Nest and Dog Day Afternoon. Apparently I need to see Sunshine Boys because they have multiple nominations here.
Yeah. So Best Director, we've got Federico Fellini for Amarcord, Stanley Kubrick for Barry Lyndon, Sidney Lumet for Dog Day Afternoon, Robert Altman for Nashville, and then I'm looking at how, like, I'm guessing it's Milos.
Okay.
Milos Forman for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Okay, fair enough. So bringing in at least one more movie that I've seen in this, and some more big names. So Milos Forman, I mentioned earlier, he'll eventually win 2 Oscars for first one for this movie, which is a classic. Stanley Kubrick, I think that's a name most even casual movie fans know.
Yep.
He unfortunately never won a directing Oscar.
Really?
I think his only competitive Oscar win was, oddly enough, for special effects for 2001.
Ah, okay.
Which is interesting. But classic director, Sidney Lumet, another classic director. He did movies like The Verdict. Never won a Best Director Academy Award, but he's kind of considered one of those classic directors. Robert Altman, maybe not as well known or considered or as revered as the other ones, but he did movies like, he did MASH, the movie, which was nominated for Best Picture, and obviously had the show that more people are familiar with. But that movie was great. Donald Sutherland was in it as Hawkeye, and who is it? It's the guy from Ocean's 11, Gould.
Elliot Gould.
Elliot Gould is in it too, in the original MASH movie. So that's kind of a comedic war classic, but I've never seen Nashville, unfortunately. So,
but yeah, we did watch Barry Lyndon. I mean, I'll be honest. You started watching it. I watched a little bit. I don't know, find myself doing something else, and then this movie's in like 2 acts. Or something.
It's a 3-ish plus hour long movie, so it's one of those epics where they have that intermission in the middle, and I do kind of look at it as it's 2 separate movies. Yeah, and so when you started the second part, I was like, oh my gosh, this movie is so long. And you're like, yeah, but it's actually been really good. And so then I watched the second half, and I really enjoyed it, even without seeing most of the first half. Which is funny, because I liked the first half more, because this is basically, it's 2 halves, so Barry Lyndon just played, I'll have to look up who the actor is, but he plays what decade would you call this? Like, it's kind of that Victorian era stuff. Yeah. Which isn't my favorite time period for movies. Me neither. Which is why I was surprised that I enjoyed this movie. But the first half, he's on the poorer side of things, trying to make his way in life, and it basically follows him through life, where he's, trying to make it. He goes to battles in war and is kind of, the rich people kind of frown upon him, and he's trying to make his way in life. So I really like that aspect. But then the second half of the movie is he ends up marrying like a rich aristocrat. Oh my God. So he kind of does, quote unquote, make it in life, where he ends up marrying into rich. But he becomes such an asshole once he is rich. Like, that whole first half of the movie, he's this nice, humble guy who's just trying to make it. But then once he makes it, he becomes like the worst person in the world. Yeah. And I hated that. I get that, like, some people might call that more realistic or whatever, but I'm watching a movie, I want a happy story. Not all the time. I'm just being dramatic about it. But I really did not like the second half as much because of that. It was just such a harsh turn on that character. But, that's, I guess, how it goes. Ryan O'Neal is the actor, by the way. He was in Love Story, so that's where I think a lot of people know him from. Gotcha.
Cool. I'll move on to the Best Picture then. So Barry Lyndon was nominated for Best Picture, along with Dog Day Afternoon and Nashville, which have come up a number of times already. And then Jaws was also nominated. And, of course, the Best Picture winner was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, so this is why I made the post in Reddit of, like, this is a sneaky great year in film. Because, I mean, looking at the Best Picture nominees, I mean, there's at least, 3 or 4 classics here. I mean, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, classic. Barry Lyndon, I don't think as many people call it. Some people call it
but the fact that
Stanley Kubrick's one of his best movies, though, and
yeah.
he's an all-time director. And then Dog Day Afternoon, I think most people would call that a classic. Maybe not, like, I don't know if you had heard of it beforehand or not.
Yeah, I've heard of it, yeah.
You know, it's got multiple lines that are on the AFI's top quotes list, like Attica. But I think it's referenced in a lot of things, too. I remember when we saw Inside Man with Denzel Washington, Spike Lee.
Yep.
And Clive Owen's character who's robbing a bank says he wants a helicopter or a bus. And Denzel's like, you've seen Dog Day Afternoon. You know what happens in the end. Like, this is where that asking for a bus or a plane thing comes from. This is like the originator of that move in a heist movie. So, I mean, I consider that a classic. And then, of course, Jaws is an all-time classic. It's probably, you know, pop culture-wise, the biggest influence out of all these movies is probably Jaws.
Oh, yeah.
I think more people know the music and the references out of Jaws than any of these other movies. That was one of Spielberg's early hits. He didn't get a Best Director nomination. I probably would have put him in over the Amarcord. I don't know, the one I haven't heard of. But Jaws, huge hit. And then Nashville, you know, I don't think it's as well known. I haven't seen it, but even that one aside, I mean, the other 4 movies are huge classics. So that's kind of why I put that post out there. I would probably still give I know I'm not really changing anything here, but I'd probably still give the win to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's probably, movie-wise, it probably still is the best, but I really do like Dog Day Afternoon and Jaws, so.
Yeah, strong year for the Best Picture category. Awesome. Do we want to get into movies coming out later this year?
Yeah, sure. So the way I kind of had this was I was going to go by month and maybe name a couple. So here, I mean, we're already in February right now and March by the time this episode comes out. In March, some of the movies I had noted that were coming out are Onward, The Way Back, Bloodshot, that Vin Diesel comic book movie, My Spy, that Dave Bautista
Oh, yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Quiet Place 2, and Mulan. So,
Mulan.
yeah, I know you're...
I forgot. I
you're,
go through waves of like being really excited for Mulan, and then I forget that it's coming out, and then they have a new trailer. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so excited for that, and then I forget about it again. Mulan, that's right.
Yep.
Put that on the list.
Yep. And then so going over to April, we've got New Mutants finally coming out. Finally, 3-4 years later, whatever it was. Lovebirds, that Camille Nanjiani movie.
Yeah.
No Time to Die, the 007 movie. Trolls World Tour. Sequel to
I did
Trolls.
not know they were making another Trolls movie. Isn't this the third one?
Is it the third? I thought it was the second. I thought they only
I
did
don't
one. Okay. Promising Young Woman.
Oh, yeah. We've watched that trailer. We have not reviewed it. We should add that.
Yeah, maybe the next
It was a good
episode.
trailer.
And then Antebellum.
Oh, yeah. Another one.
Are the
Yep.
April movies I put on
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
And then May, so going into May, we got Black Widow movie. Scoob.
Oh,
Scooby-Doo.
God. Okay.
Woman in the Window, so you might want to see that.
Yeah,
while you read the
I do
book.
want to see it. Yep.
Fast 9, F9.
Okay.
SpongeBob. Artemis Fowl is supposed to be coming out. I read
Okay.
those books as a kid.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to see the movie, but I read the books as a kid for sure.
Okay.
And then Legally Blonde 3.
Oh, boy.
This is apparently, I don't know if that's changed since I've typed this up, because I feel like that movie, I had no idea they were doing a third one until I looked at this, so I don't know if maybe production's changed or what, but that's what I have here for May.
Oh, that's funny.
June, Wonder Woman 84.
Oh, yeah.
Candyman. Soul, the other Pixar movie.
Have they released a full-length trailer of that yet?
I have not seen one.
I haven't seen one either. Okay.
This one was interesting. So this King of Staten Island. This is a Judd Apatow movie starring Pete Davidson.
What?
I had no idea this movie existed.
Oh, boy. Okay.
But, yeah, written, directed by Judd Apatow, and, yeah, Pete Davidson. So...
I don't need to see that.
No, not a fan.
No.
Maude Apatow is going to be in it as well as
I like
daughter.
her.
Yeah, the
I really
older
like her.
daughter.
Yep.
Marissa Tomei, Steve Buscemi, so Jimmy Tatro, Bill Burr. Is that making you more excited at all for it?
Not
No?
necessarily.
Okay.
No.
Top Gun 2, Top Gun Maverick.
Yep.
In the Heights.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, so those are all June. July, we got, Minions, The Rise of Gru. Another Minions movie. You're yawning. That goes to show how excited you are about that one.
Definitely excited.
Free Guy. I was about to say Free Willy. Free Guy, the Ryan Reynolds movie where he's like one of those characters inside a video game.
Okay.
Which I'm kind of excited for that one. I would see that one. It's a different kind of video game, so I'd see it. Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
The Purge 5.
Whoa, they're on 5.
Yeah, another Purge movie.
Okay.
The last one was like a prequel where they like how
like the
Purge,
first Purge or something.
Yeah,
right?
so I can't believe they're doing another
another
Purge movie. So there you go. Bob's Burger the movie.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know they were making a movie.
I didn't know that either.
Oh my gosh.
The show we
Bobby,
love.
put that one on the list.
Yeah.
That's not a very good Linda voice. Sometimes I can do it, sometimes I can't.
Yeah.
That was not a good one.
We went as Bob and Linda for Halloween last year? 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
It was
yeah,
fun.
show that near and dear to our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Tenet in July. Christopher
That's
Nolan.
right. Yep. July 17th.
Yep. Jungle Cruise. The
Pass.
Rock. Huh?
Yeah.
No, pass. Okay.
No.
Yeah, she should be saying pass or approved
Oh,
on all
okay.
these.
Yeah.
Maybe Morbius.
No.
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 Oh, come on. Jared Leto vampire movie. Gotta see it, right? The French Dispatch comes out in July as well. August, I've only got a couple here, but Bill and Ted Face the Music. Hell yeah.
I'll pass on that.
What?
You can go see that one.
Oh, come on. That's gonna be... I mean, it could be a so bad it's good, but it'll be good.
Okay.
Let's see, and then what is this? The One and Only Ivan. I might have put that in just because Ivan is in the title, and that's your dad's name.
Yeah.
But Sam Rockwell's in it, Angelina Jolie, Bryan Cranston, Mike. Oh, this is why I put it in here. You know who wrote it? Mike White.
Oh my god.
It's a Walt Disney movie. So.
Huh. All right. Interesting.
Yep. Let's see. September, a new Conjuring movie, because we don't have enough of those, right?
Oh my god. The Conjuring universe just keeps expanding.
Yep. Yes, it does. And then The King's Man, so the prequel to The King's Man.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be coming out in September.
I would say that.
Last Night in Soho. Let's see. Who was in that one? That is... Oh, Edgar Wright movie. He's pretty good, so...
We're going through the whole year here. I lost track of what month we're on.
September.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a couple more. And then, let's see, October, Venom 2 is supposed to be coming out. Death on the Nile, so a sequel to Murder on the Orient Express.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Oh, Taylor Sheridan, who did the Hell or High Water and Wind River and all those, coming out with a new movie in October as well. November is The Eternals. They're doing a Clifford the Big Red Dog movie, apparently.
Oh my god.
And then Godzilla vs. Kong is supposed to be coming out in November as well.
Didn't they already do a Godzilla versus thing?
They did Godzilla King of Monsters.
Huh.
So this is like Kong versus
Okay.
Kong. And then December is West Side Story, Spielberg remake.
Yep.
Coming to America, the sequel to Coming to America. The Croods 2.
Oh, I like the Croods.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good. I didn't know they were making a second one.
Yep.
Okay.
And then The Last Duel, which is a movie like about a duel, kind of like, you know, like in the you actually like walk off 10 paces or whatever, turn around, and that's a Ridley Scott movie starring Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Oh, okay.
So
When was the last time they did something together? Acted together?
Yeah, I mean, they've done a couple, like, I think a Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back where they play they're doing a fake sequel to Good Will Hunting. I don't know if this is actually the last time they're in a movie together, but I just think of that for some reason.
Okay.
But yeah, Adam Driver is in it too, or as well apparently. So, and the fact that it's coming out in December means they're probably looking for some Oscar buzz on it. And then lastly, the one that I am most excited for, and that's Dune.
Yeah.
Directed by Denis Villeneuve, who did Arrival and Blade Runner 2049.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for that. I mean, I read the book and
Got a long ways to go.
yeah, I know. Gotta wait so long.
Good things come to those who wait, right?
Yeah, I want it now. But Eric Roth is doing the screenplay, and he's pretty good. Denis Villeneuve is doing it with him as well. But Timothée Chalamet is in it, Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, Josh Brolin, Stellan Skarsgård, Dave Bautista, Zendaya, Javier Bardem, Jason Momoa. Huge cast list, and I think
it's a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure, so you better.
Boy.
Roger Deakins is not doing it, and I wish he was, but because I think this totally fits like his. I mean, he's just good no matter what, but I think this type of movie fits Denis Villeneuve, like what he did with Blade Runner. I think is a similar aesthetic to this, so I'm very excited for Dune. That's the one I'm most excited for. Is there one? I know you're excited for Mulan. Maybe other than Mulan, is there one that you're excited for at all?
I'm hoping Wonder Woman 1984 is good. I feel like sequels don't always go. I mean, even though Patty Jenkins like this is not a sequel, I get
it's
it,
a sequel.
But it's a
sequel.
But yeah, those two are probably high on my list.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm excited for both of those as well. So. All right, so no, not excited for like West Side Story or anything.
You know, I've never seen West Side Story.
Yeah, we haven't watched that one yet. 1961.
Yeah, I've never seen a stage production of it either. So, because I know nothing about it, I guess I don't really, have an opinion on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's like Romeo and Juliet, but in musical form, right?
Okay, there we go.
Basically. I'm excited for The Eternals a little bit too. I mean, it's a Marvel MCU film that is about a group of characters that not a lot of people know about, so I'm hoping it'll kind of be Guardians of the Galaxy-esque, where, characters you don't know a whole lot about, but they knock it out of the park. I guess I'm just assuming they're going to do that, but we'll see what happens. So.
Yeah. All right. Cool. 2020. Some stuff to look forward to.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's all I got.
Awesome. Next episode, I shouldn't say next week, next episode, Matt's going to pick the movie that we watch. And then the Best Picture winner we will be discussing is The Departed.
Martin Scorsese, best director ever.
What year is that? 2006?
6.
Yep. So
Finally got him his best director win.
2006. The Departed is what we'll talk about on the next episode. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at OscarReelPod. Matt does a great job of posting some great content, so go ahead and follow us there. Comment, like, all that good stuff. And we will see you hopefully after we survive coronavirus in Europe, right?
Mm-hmm. Hopefully. Yep.
So for this episode of the Oscar Reel Movie Podcast, Mike, oh my God.
Oh man, how long have we been together?
Oh, I'm so tired. Matt and Haley signing off. See, here's what I was doing. I was thinking ahead of saying the word sign off. Matt and Haley sign off, and I said Mike. I don't know. Whatever. I'm sorry.
All right.
I love you.
It's been a long night.
Yep.
Go see a movie this week.